I'm grateful you joined tonight. Your body is quietly restoring itself right now, renewing cells while you simply exist. You'll discover why poor sleep leaves you feeling more drained than staying awake. And by the end, you'll understand the hidden architecture of rest your mind requires. Welcome to Psychology for Sleep. Wherever you are right now, perhaps exhausted from a restless night, or simply curious about why sleep sometimes feels more tiring than helpful, allow yourself to rest in this gentle exploration. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about sleep's hidden purposes, from the brain's nightly cleaning cycles that clear toxic proteins, to dream stages that process emotional wounds, to the delicate balance between rest and restoration that makes all the difference. This thoughtful journey through consciousness builds bridges between searching minds. Your gentle support, a like, subscribe, or a quiet share, creates a pathway for more curious souls to discover and brings us closer to protect this sanctuary for every tired mind who finds their way here. One peaceful night, one sleepy soul at a time. Your healing journey inspires ours. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw unclench, your breath deepen naturally. You can let these thoughts drift past without holding them. Sense that soothing heaviness enveloping you, like your consciousness slowly dimming its brightness. Thoughts dissolving into the peaceful fog of approaching sleep, safe and undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where memories rest safely in gentle darkness. Let your mind merge with infinite peace. And now we begin. Sleep quality matters more than sleep quantity. Recent research from 2024 confirms what sleep scientists have long suspected. The architecture of your sleep, not just the hours, determines how rested you feel. You can spend 8 hours in bed but wake exhausted if those hours lack the proper cycling through sleep stages. Your brain follows a precise choreography each night, moving through light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep in roughly 90-minute cycles. When this dance is disrupted by stress, noise, alcohol, or irregular schedules, your brain never completes its essential maintenance work. The fatigue you feel after bad sleep isn't laziness or weakness. It's your brain signaling that critical restoration processes were interrupted, leaving cellular waste accumulated, memories unprocessed, and emotional regulation systems offline. Your brain physically shrinks during sleep to allow cleaning. Discovered through imaging studies in 2023, the brain cells actually reduce in size by up to 20% during deep sleep, creating space for cerebrospinal fluid to wash through tissue like a tide. This glymphatic system, active primarily during sleep, clears beta-amyloid proteins and other metabolic waste that accumulate during waking hours. When sleep is fragmented or shortened, this cleaning process remains incomplete. Think of it like a gentle tide that needs time to complete its cycle. Interrupted. The waters never fully clear, leaving sediment scattered where it shouldn't be. The toxic proteins that should be flushed away remain scattered through neural tissue, creating a fog of confusion, slow thinking, and profound fatigue the next day. Deep sleep is when your body repairs physical damage. During the deepest stages of non-REM sleep, growth hormone secretion increases dramatically, triggering cellular repair throughout your body. Muscles damaged during exercise rebuild their fibers. Skin cells regenerate. The immune system manufactures infection-fighting cells. This stage typically occurs most intensely in the first half of the night, which is why going to bed very late, even if you sleep the same number of hours, can leave you feeling physically depleted. A 2024 study from Johns Hopkins found that people who consistently sleep poorly show markers of accelerated cellular aging and weakened immune responses. This fatigue is cellular. Your body sending signals that essential repair work was left unfinished. REM sleep processes, emotional experiences. The rapid eye movement stage, discovered in the 1950s but only recently understood through neuroscience, serves as overnight therapy for the emotional brain. During REM sleep, the amygdala, your emotional alarm system, replays difficult experiences from the day while stress hormone levels drop. This allows you to process fear, anger, sadness, and anxiety in a neurochemically safe environment. Recent research from UC Berkeley in 2024 shows that people deprived of REM sleep show increased emotional reactivity the next day, responding more intensely to negative stimuli. When you sleep poorly, REM stages are often shortened or skipped entirely. The unprocessed emotions accumulate like unpaid debts, creating a weariness that's both mental and emotional. A heaviness that 8 cups of coffee can't lift. Your brain rehearses important skills during sleep. Sleep spindles, brief bursts of brain activity during light sleep, help consolidate motor learning and procedural memories. If you practiced piano, learned a dance step, or trained in a sport, your brain literally replays those neural patterns while you sleep, strengthening the connections. A 2023 study found that sleep quality directly predicted skill improvement in musicians learning complex pieces. Poor sleep interrupts this rehearsal process. You wake feeling not just tired but clumsy, forgetful, and unable to access skills you demonstrated easily the day before. The weariness includes a frustrating sense of incompetence, because your brain genuinely couldn't finish installing the new software updates while you slept. Poor sleep creates false memories. Research from 2024 shows that sleep-deprived brains have difficulty distinguishing between events that actually happened and events they imagined or were told about. During proper sleep, the hippocampus, your memory filing system, processes the day's experiences, deciding what to keep, what to discard, and where to store important information. Without adequate sleep, this filing system malfunctions. You might confidently remember conversations that never happened, or forget appointments you definitely scheduled. This cognitive confusion adds to the tiredness. You're not just fatigued, you're disoriented, questioning your own mental reliability, which creates a subtle unease that makes rest more difficult. Sleep regulates hunger hormones. Even one night of poor sleep disrupts the balance between leptin, which signals fullness, and ghrelin, which triggers hunger. Studies suggest sleep-deprived people may consume 200 to 500 more calories the next day, with the average increase around 300 calories, particularly craving simple carbohydrates and fats. This isn't lack of willpower. It's biological desperation. Your brain, running on insufficient rest, demands quick energy sources to compensate for depleted resources. The heaviness you feel includes intense food cravings and the blood sugar crashes that follow overeating, creating a sluggish weight throughout the day. Your body is trying to fuel itself with food because it couldn't properly restore itself through sleep. Your heart needs sleep to reset. Blood pressure naturally drops during deep sleep, giving your cardiovascular system a chance to rest and repair. This nightly dip is so important that its absence, called non-dipping, is considered a risk factor for heart disease. People who sleep poorly show elevated nighttime blood pressure and increased heart rate variability, signs that the cardiovascular system is under constant strain. A 2024 meta-analysis found that chronic poor sleep increases heart attack risk by 48%. The weariness you feel after bad sleep includes a subtle but real physical strain. Your heart quite literally didn't get its break, and every cell in your body feels the consequences of reduced circulation and oxygen delivery. Sleep synchronizes your internal clocks. Every cell in your body contains clock genes that follow roughly 24-hour cycles, controlling everything from digestion to immune function to mood. Sleep serves as the master synchronizer, keeping all these cellular clocks aligned with Earth's day-night cycle. Poor sleep desynchronizes these rhythms. Your liver might think it's morning while your brain thinks it's evening. This internal time zone chaos creates profound tiredness. You're not just fatigued from lack of rest. You're experiencing a form of constant jet lag, with different body systems trying to operate on conflicting schedules. Recent research shows it can take weeks of consistent good sleep to fully resynchronize these cellular rhythms. Dreams help you practice social situations. REM sleep doesn't just process emotions. It also simulates social interactions, allowing your brain to rehearse conversations, predict others' reactions, and refine your understanding of social dynamics. Studies using dream journals and fMRI scans show that people who dream more show better emotional intelligence and social cognition when awake. Poor sleep steals this social rehearsal time. You wake not just tired but socially awkward, missing social cues, misinterpreting facial expressions, and feeling disconnected from others. So yes, bad sleep makes you feel more depleted, partly because it robs you of the invisible practice sessions your brain needs to navigate the complex social world around you. Sleep strengthens immune memory. While you sleep, your immune system catalogs the pathogens it encountered during the day, creating antibodies and memory cells that will recognize those threats in the future. This is why vaccines work better when followed by good sleep, and why sleep-deprived people get sick more often. A landmark 2024 study found that just one night of poor sleep can reduce vaccine effectiveness by up to 30%. The depletion you feel after bad sleep includes a weakened immune response. You're not just mentally tired, you're biologically vulnerable. Your body is working overtime to compensate for the immune training it missed during disrupted sleep. Poor sleep ages your brain faster. Brain imaging studies show that chronic sleep disruption accelerates the accumulation of beta amyloid and tau proteins, the same toxic buildup seen in Alzheimer's disease. Even in young, healthy people, poor sleep increases these proteins temporarily. Over years of inadequate sleep, this accumulation appears to accelerate cognitive decline. The tiredness you feel isn't just today's problem. It's a warning signal that your brain is operating under conditions that, if sustained, could shorten your cognitive lifespan. Recent longitudinal studies suggest that people who consistently sleep poorly in midlife show increased dementia risk decades later. Sleep organizes spatial memories. The hippocampus creates cognitive maps of your environment, mental blueprints of where things are and how to navigate between them. During sleep, particularly during slow-wave sleep, these maps are consolidated and integrated with existing knowledge. Poor sleep impairs this process dramatically. Studies show that sleep-deprived people perform significantly worse on navigation tasks and have trouble remembering where they placed objects. You wake feeling disoriented, not just emotionally, but spatially. A subtle confusion about physical space that adds to the sense of being mentally foggy and physically uncoordinated. Your body temperature must drop for deep sleep. Core body temperature naturally decreases in the evening as part of your circadian rhythm, signaling to your brain that it's time to sleep. Deep sleep only occurs when this temperature drop is maintained. If your bedroom is too warm, or if stress keeps your body in an activated state, you never achieve the temperature reduction needed for restorative deep sleep. You might sleep for 8 hours but wake depleted because you spent the night in light. Fragmented sleep stages. Recent research suggests the ideal bedroom temperature for optimal sleep is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooler than most people expect. Dreams integrate new learning with old knowledge, rather than simply replaying the day's experiences. REM sleep creates novel combinations of old memories and new information, fostering creative insight and problem solving. Studies show that people often wake with solutions to problems that stumped them the day before, not because they consciously thought about it, but because their dreaming brain made unexpected connections. Poor sleep disrupts this integration process. You wake not just tired but mentally rigid, unable to see creative solutions or make intuitive leaps. This heaviness includes a frustrating sense of being stuck, unable to think your way out of problems that would normally yield to fresh perspective. Sleep clears emotional intensity from memories. The same memory will feel less emotionally charged after a good night's sleep, as if the sharp edges have been smoothed away. This is adaptive. It allows you to remember important events without being overwhelmed by their emotional weight. Poor sleep prevents this emotional dampening. You wake with yesterday's anxieties feeling just as intense, sometimes even amplified. Traumatic memories remain raw. Social embarrassments sting as sharply as when they happened. This emotional weariness, carrying the full intensity of accumulated experiences, is one of the most draining aspects of poor sleep. Your spine rehydrates during sleep. The discs between your vertebrae, compressed by gravity and movement during the day, reabsorb water while you lie down. This is why you're slightly taller in the morning than evening, about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch on average. Poor sleep, especially if you're tossing and turning or sleeping in awkward positions, prevents optimal spinal rehydration. You wake with back pain, stiffness, and a physical tiredness that comes from your skeleton not getting its nightly restoration. The spine, supporting your entire body, broadcasts its fatigue through every movement. Sleep balances excitatory and inhibitory brain chemicals. During waking hours, excitatory neurotransmitters like glutamate dominate, keeping neurons firing and your mind alert. Sleep allows inhibitory systems, particularly GABA, to restore balance. Without adequate sleep, This balance tilts toward excessive excitation. Your brain remains overstimulated, unable to calm down even when you're depleted. This creates a wired but tired state where you're simultaneously exhausted and unable to rest. It's neurochemically similar to running an engine at high RPMs with an empty gas tank. Damaging and unsustainable. Poor sleep reduces your pain threshold. The same stimulus that would feel mildly uncomfortable when well rested feels significantly more painful after poor sleep. Brain imaging reveals that sleep deprivation amplifies pain signals while reducing activation in pain modulation regions. A 2024 study found that even moderate sleep loss increases pain sensitivity by 15 to 30%. The weariness you feel includes becoming more sensitive to every sensation, more aware of discomfort that would normally fade into the background. This makes everything feel harder, more effortful, more draining. Sleep allows neurons to rest their connectivity. During waking hours, neurons form increasingly strong connections, a process called synaptic potentiation. This learning mechanism is essential but energetically expensive. Sleep provides a period of synaptic downscaling, pruning weaker connections while preserving important ones, allowing the brain to operate more efficiently. Without adequate sleep, synapses remain potentiated, consuming excess energy and reducing the signal-to-noise ratio in neural processing. You wake feeling mentally cluttered and confused because your brain literally couldn't simplify its circuitry, leaving you working with an overly complex, inefficient neural network. Dreams rehearse threat responses. The amygdala remains highly active during REM sleep, simulating threatening scenarios in a safe environment. This ancient function, preserved through evolution, allows your brain to practice survival responses without real danger. You might dream of being chased, falling, or facing hostile encounters. Your brain's way of keeping threat detection systems calibrated. Poor sleep robs you of this rehearsal, leaving you feeling more reactive to daily stressors. The tiredness includes a heightened startle response and gentle unease, your nervous system sensing that it didn't complete its nightly threat preparation drills. Sleep regulates inflammation throughout your body. During deep sleep, anti-inflammatory cytokines increase, while pro-inflammatory markers decrease. This nightly reduction in inflammation is crucial for long-term health. Even one night of poor sleep shifts this balance, increasing inflammatory markers measurably by morning. Chronic sleep disruption creates a state of persistent low-grade inflammation, which accelerates aging, increases disease risk, and contributes to that achy, flu-like heaviness many people feel after poor sleep. Your immune system is creating subtle inflammatory signals in your tissues that contribute to that heavy, achy feeling. Your eyes need sleep to maintain vision. The cornea, which has no blood supply, receives oxygen primarily when your eyes are closed. During sleep, tear production increases, moisturizing and cleaning the eye surface. Poor sleep contributes to dry eye, blurred vision, and increased light sensitivity. These vision problems aren't just annoying. They force your brain to work harder to process visual information, adding cognitive load to an already depleted system. The weariness includes visual fatigue, as if the world itself has become harder to see clearly. Sleep consolidates your sense of self. During sleep, particularly REM stages. Your brain integrates the day's experiences into your autobiographical memory, the ongoing narrative of who you are. This process maintains coherence in your identity across time. Sleep disruption fragments this consolidation. You wake feeling disconnected from yourself, as if yesterday's version of you is a stranger. This existential tiredness, a subtle but disturbing loss of continuity in self-perception, adds a layer of psychological fatigue to physical weariness. Poor sleep creates decision fatigue before you even start your day. Executive function regions in the prefrontal cortex are highly sensitive to sleep loss. After poor sleep, even simple decisions feel overwhelming. What to eat? What to wear? Which task to tackle first? Research shows that sleep-deprived people make worse decisions, are more impulsive, and have difficulty weighing long-term consequences. So yes, these observations reveal that sleep quality determines not just how tired you feel, but how effectively you can navigate the cognitive demands of conscious life. The depletion is partly the brain conserving energy. By avoiding complex decision-making, it knows it can't handle well. Take a deep breath and feel this. As you breathe out slowly, appreciate each tiny cell inside. Trillions of organisms working in silence. Heart beating, lungs breathing, brain thinking, all without your command. Notice the gentle sensations on your skin, in your muscles, along your spine. You are a complete ecosystem, diverse, self-balancing. Now we continue. Sleep deprivation mimics intoxication in cognitive tests. Studies comparing sleep-deprived and alcohol-impaired subjects show remarkably similar deficits in reaction time, judgment, and coordination. After about 17 to 20 hours awake, cognitive performance drops to levels comparable to legal intoxication in many studies. Yet we routinely operate vehicles, make important decisions, and care for others while severely sleep-deprived. Something we'd never do while knowingly intoxicated. The heaviness you feel isn't weakness. It's impairment, as real and dangerous as any chemical intoxicant, though society treats it as merely feeling tired. Your microbiome changes based on sleep quality. The trillions of bacteria in your gut follow circadian rhythms linked to your sleep-wake cycle. Poor sleep disrupts these microbial patterns, reducing beneficial bacteria and increasing populations associated with inflammation and metabolic problems. A 2024 study found that just 2 nights of poor sleep measurably altered gut microbiome composition. These changes affect mood, immune function, and even food cravings. The depletion you feel includes signals from gut bacteria whose rhythms have been thrown into chaos. Sleep debt accumulates faster than it resolves. If you lose 2 hours of sleep per night for a week, you've accumulated a 14-hour sleep debt. But sleeping 2 hours extra for 7 nights doesn't fully resolve that debt. Recovery takes weeks of consistently adequate sleep. Recent research suggests some cognitive deficits from chronic sleep loss may persist even after sleep patterns normalize. The tiredness after bad sleep carries forward, compounding night after night, creating a deficit that weekend recovery sleep can't completely eliminate. Dreams create fictional memories that feel real. During REM sleep, your brain's reality monitoring systems go offline. allowing dream experiences to be encoded as memories without the tag "this was imaginary." Unless you wake immediately after a dream, these fictional memories often blend with real ones. This is why you sometimes remember events that never happened, or wonder whether something was a dream or reality. Poor sleep increases this confusion, contributing to the disorienting fog where you can't quite trust your own memory, a wearying uncertainty about what's real. Sleeping in on weekends can worsen sleep problems. Social jet lag. The mismatch between your biological clock and your social schedule is worsened when you drastically shift sleep times on weekends. Sleeping until noon on Saturday feels restorative in the moment, but makes Sunday night sleep difficult and Monday morning brutal. Your circadian system interprets this as traveling several time zones east then west every week. Recent evidence suggests maintaining consistent sleep times, even on weekends, produces better long-term sleep quality despite shorter-term sleep satisfaction. Your ancestors slept differently than you do. Before electric lighting, humans typically followed a biphasic sleep pattern, sleeping 4 hours, waking for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night for quiet activities, then sleeping another 4 hours. Historical records and anthropological studies suggest this pattern was normal. The weariness you feel trying to maintain 8 continuous hours might partly stem from fighting a natural inclination towards split sleep. Some sleep researchers now question whether our modern monophasic sleep ideal creates unnecessary sleep pressure. Napping can save or sabotage nighttime sleep. A 20-minute nap provides significant cognitive restoration without entering deep sleep stages. You wake refreshed rather than groggy. But naps longer than 20 to 30 minutes often enter slow-wave sleep for many people, triggering sleep inertia that leaves you feeling drugged and confused. Long afternoon naps also reduce sleep pressure for nighttime, making it harder to fall asleep later. The heaviness from poor nighttime sleep sometimes drives daytime naps that perpetuate the cycle. Your tired brain craves rest but can't access it properly when evening arrives. Sleep position affects brain waste clearance. Studies using MRI tracking of cerebrospinal fluid show that side sleeping allows more efficient glymphatic drainage than back or stomach sleeping. The waste products that make you feel foggy and depleted drain more efficiently when you sleep on your side, with research suggesting the left side may offer the most benefit. This might explain why some sleeping positions leave you feeling groggier than others, even with the same sleep duration. Your brain's cleaning system works better in specific orientations relative to gravity. Alcohol destroys sleep architecture while making you feel sleepy. Though alcohol helps you fall asleep faster, it suppresses REM sleep in the first half of the night and causes REM rebound. Excessive, fragmented REM sleep. In the second half, you wake feeling unrested despite sleeping through the night. A 2024 study found that even moderate drinking significantly impairs memory consolidation during sleep. The weariness after drinking isn't just hangover. It's the consequence of your brain cycling through sleep stages in the wrong sequence and proportions. Chronic stress shrinks the hippocampus, and poor sleep accelerates the damage. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is naturally suppressed during healthy sleep, giving the hippocampus a break from its effects. Poor sleep maintains elevated cortisol, which literally causes hippocampal neurons to retract their dendrites, the branches that receive signals from other neurons. Over time, the memory-forming region of your brain physically shrinks. The memory problems and spatial confusion you feel after bad sleep aren't just temporary. They're early warning signs of structural brain changes. Blue light suppresses melatonin for up to 3 hours. The light-sensitive cells in your eyes that regulate circadian rhythms are most responsive to blue wavelengths. Exactly what screens emit. Evening screen time delays melatonin release, pushing your biological night later even when you're behaviorally trying to sleep. This creates a split between your intention to sleep and your biology's readiness, resulting in lying awake, depleted, but unable to sleep. Recent studies show that wearing blue-blocking glasses for 3 hours before bed can significantly improve sleep quality. Some people genuinely need less sleep than others. About 1% of the population carries gene variants that allow them to function optimally on 4 to 6 hours of sleep with no apparent health consequences. For the other 99%, chronically short sleep causes measurable cognitive decline and health problems. The tiredness you feel after insufficient sleep is your brain's honest signal that it needs more, not a sign of weakness to be overcome with willpower or caffeine. Your bedroom's darkness matters more than you think. Even dim light during sleep, from streetlights, digital clocks, or hallway illumination, suppresses melatonin and fragments sleep architecture. Studies show that people sleeping in rooms with even minimal light show reduced deep sleep and more nighttime awakenings, often without conscious awareness. They believe they slept through the night but wake depleted because their brain registered dozens of micro-arousals. Complete darkness allows your brain to fully commit to sleep's restorative processes. Sleep talking reveals how your brain processes language during sleep. About half of all people talk in their sleep occasionally, usually during light sleep or transitions between stages. The content is often nonsensical because language processing regions are partially active while logic and reality monitoring systems are offline. This reveals how your sleeping brain maintains some connection to language and social interaction, even while offline from conscious awareness. Poor sleep increases sleep talking, suggesting unstable transitions between sleep stages. Another marker of disrupted sleep architecture, the second half of the night contains most REM sleep. Sleep architecture isn't evenly distributed. Deep sleep dominates the first half of the night, while REM periods become longer and more frequent in the second half. This means cutting sleep short, even by an hour, disproportionately reduces REM sleep. If you normally sleep 8 hours but only get 7, you've lost not just 12% of sleep time, but potentially 30 to 40% of REM sleep. So yes, this evidence suggests that even seemingly minor sleep shortening has outsized effects on the depletion you feel, because you're missing sleep stages that occur primarily in hours you've eliminated. You're still here, thoughts still flickering like candlelight. Just notice. Don't judge. Just notice where your mind is. We're exploring consciousness itself, the very thing doing the exploring right now. Strange, beautiful, and perfectly calm. Let's drift onward together. Insomnia is often caused by trying too hard to sleep. The effort to force sleep activates arousal systems that prevent sleep. A cruel paradox. Sleep researchers now emphasize paradoxical intention, accepting wakefulness rather than fighting it, which reduces the tension that perpetuates insomnia. The weariness from insomnia includes the mental fatigue of this nightly battle, where the harder you try to do something natural and automatic, the more impossible it becomes. Learning to let go, to simply lie in darkness without goals, often breaks the cycle. Your sleep needs change across your lifespan. Infants need 16 to 18 hours. Teenagers need 9 to 10. And older adults often function well on 7. But within each age range, individual variation is enormous. Some adults genuinely need 9 hours. Others only 6. The tiredness you feel might come from trying to meet an arbitrary standard rather than your personal biological need. Recent sleep medicine emphasizes tracking how you feel rather than hitting a specific hour target. Chronic pain and poor sleep create a vicious cycle. Pain disrupts sleep, and sleep deprivation lowers pain threshold, creating a self-perpetuating loop. Breaking this cycle often requires addressing both simultaneously. Sleep medications, combined with pain management, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia alongside physical therapy. The heaviness of living with chronic pain includes the compounded fatigue of never achieving restorative sleep, which makes pain worse, which further disrupts sleep. Understanding this cycle is the first step toward interrupting it. Sleeping pills don't produce natural sleep. Most prescription and over-the-counter sleep aids create sedation rather than true sleep, inducing unconsciousness without moving properly through sleep stages. You spend hours unconscious but wake unrefreshed because your brain didn't complete its restorative processes. Brain wave patterns during medicated sleep differ markedly from natural sleep. This explains why people who use sleep medication regularly often still feel depleted. They're getting pharmaceutical unconsciousness, not biological restoration. Exercise improves sleep, but timing matters. Physical activity increases sleep drive and deepens slow-wave sleep, but exercising within 3 hours of bedtime can be stimulating, delaying sleep onset. Exercise also shifts circadian rhythms. Morning workouts advance your biological clock, making you sleepier earlier, while evening exercise delays it. Recent research suggests moderate morning or afternoon exercise produces the most reliable sleep benefits. The weariness you feel might be worsened by well-intentioned exercise scheduled at times that interfere with sleep preparation. Worry time is a real therapeutic technique. Setting aside 15 minutes during the day specifically for worrying, writing down concerns and potential solutions, significantly reduces nighttime rumination. Your brain seems to need time to process worries, and if it doesn't get that during the day, it stages a midnight emergency meeting. The tiredness from anxiety-driven insomnia often responds to this surprisingly simple intervention, giving worry its due time before sleep becomes an option. Your bed should be for sleep and intimacy only. Sleep specialists advise against reading, working, or watching TV in bed because these activities train your brain to associate the bed with wakefulness. When you consistently only sleep in bed, the environment itself becomes a powerful sleep cue. Poor sleep habits often include using the bed as a living room, office, and dining area, which creates confusion for your brain about what this space is for. The depletion from poor sleep is sometimes sustained by environmental cues telling your brain this is a place for everything except sleep. Nightmares serve a purpose, but can become harmful. Occasional bad dreams help your brain process fear and trauma. essentially providing exposure therapy during sleep. But when nightmares become frequent or recur with the same themes, they fragment sleep and increase next-day tension. A therapy called image rehearsal treatment teaches people to rewrite nightmare scripts while awake, which often reduces their frequency. The weariness from nightmare-disrupted sleep includes not just lost sleep but the emotional toll of repeatedly experiencing fear. Co-sleeping affects adult sleep differently for everyone. Some couples sleep better together, synchronized by each other's presence. Others suffer frequent disruptions from snoring, movement, or mismatched sleep schedules. Neither pattern is right or wrong, but pretending it doesn't matter guarantees tiredness for those whose sleep is genuinely impaired by sharing a bed. Recent surveys show about 1/4 of couples sleep separately at least part of the time, prioritizing sleep quality over social expectations. Halfway through our journey, the answer is emerging. You feel more depleted after bad sleep, not because you're weak or doing something wrong, but because sleep is when your brain and body perform hundreds of essential maintenance tasks. Miss these tasks, and you wake with work left undone. Toxic proteins in your brain, unprocessed emotions, unrepaired tissues, unsynchronized clocks. The heaviness isn't just feeling tired. It's your body's honest assessment of its actual state. Systems offline, resources depleted, restoration incomplete. Understanding this transforms how you think about sleep, not as wasted time, but as the foundation everything else rests upon. Let each breath guide you to realize time is yours, a separate stream that only you are living, while the vast universe continues to spin, expand, change. This second you're breathing, listening, is unique. Cherish the present moment, knowing that right now, your time is unique in the universe, and we continue drifting. Sleep is not passive rest, but active maintenance. For decades, sleep was viewed as simply the absence of wakefulness, like turning off a machine. Now we understand sleep is intensely active, a precisely orchestrated sequence of biological processes that can't occur while awake. This shift changes everything. The weariness after poor sleep isn't because you failed to rest, but because your brain couldn't run its essential programs. Memory consolidation happens in stages across the night. Declarative memories, facts and events, consolidate primarily during slow-wave sleep in the first half of the night. Procedural memories, skills and habits, consolidate during REM sleep in the second half. This explains why both halves matter. You can't optimize sleep by sleeping only the first or last 4 hours. You need the whole sequence to process different types of learning. Adenosine drives sleep pressure like a chemical hourglass. This molecule accumulates in your brain throughout the day, binding to receptors that make you feel increasingly sleepy. Sleep clears adenosine away, resetting the system. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors, masking sleepiness without actually reducing it. When caffeine wears off, accumulated adenosine floods available receptors all at once. The dreaded caffeine crash. Understanding this helps explain why you can feel depleted despite drinking coffee all day. Temperature changes signal sleep transitions. Your core body temperature drops in the evening to facilitate sleep, then rises toward morning to promote waking. Taking a warm bath 90 minutes before bed triggers a post-bath temperature drop that helps initiate sleep. Cold hands and feet, which seem like barriers to sleep, actually indicate your body is shunting blood to the core to lower temperature. A sign sleep is approaching. Working with these shifts rather than against them can transform sleep quality. Sleep spindles are your brain's learning signals. These brief bursts of brain activity during light sleep, lasting just a second or two, protect sleep from disruption while also binding new information into long-term storage. People who produce more sleep spindles show better learning and memory. Recent research explores whether stimulation that increases sleep spindles could enhance learning, suggesting sleep isn't just passive, but something that could potentially be optimized. Chronotypes are biological, not personal choices. Whether you're naturally a morning lark or night owl is largely genetic, determined by variations in circadian clock genes. Teenagers' brains are biologically programmed to sleep late and wake late. Not laziness, but developmental biology. Forcing night owls to function on morning schedules creates chronic sleep deprivation and circadian misalignment. Society's preference for early schedules creates weariness for people whose biology operates on a later clock. Sleep disconnects you from your environment for safety. If you remained fully aware of your surroundings while sleeping, you'd wake at every sound and never achieve deep rest. Sleep actively suppresses sensory processing and motor commands, the same mechanism that prevents you from acting out dreams. This necessary disconnection makes sleep inherently vulnerable, which explains why humans instinctively seek safe, comfortable places, and why sleeping in unfamiliar environments produces lighter, less restorative sleep. The glymphatic system operates only during sleep. This waste clearance system, discovered in 2012, explains why sleep is absolutely necessary for brain health. Unlike other organs with lymphatic systems to remove waste, the brain relies on cerebrospinal fluid flowing through neural tissue during sleep. There's no backup system. Miss sleep, and toxic proteins accumulate with nowhere else to go. Over years, this contributes to neurodegenerative disease risk. Dreams incorporate external sensory information creatively. If a phone rings while you're dreaming, your brain might weave that sound into the dream as a doorbell or car horn. This shows your sleeping brain maintains some sensory connection to the external world while creating elaborate internal narratives. It also explains why sleeping in noisy environments fragments sleep. Your dreaming brain keeps trying to incorporate disruptive sounds, preventing deep, continuous stages. Sleep architecture changes dramatically after stress or trauma. Post-traumatic stress often involves fragmented sleep with increased REM density and reduced slow-wave sleep. The brain appears to be trying to process overwhelming emotional experiences, but keeps getting overwhelmed again in dreams, creating disturbances that wake the person. This demonstrates how mental and emotional states fundamentally alter sleep biology. You can't separate psychological well-being from sleep quality. Microsleeps invade wakefulness during severe sleep deprivation, lasting just a few seconds. These brief lapses in consciousness occur when your brain simply can't maintain wakefulness any longer. During microsleeps, your eyes remain open but you're essentially asleep, not processing visual information or responding to stimuli. This explains why sleep-deprived driving is so concerning. You can't force your brain to stay awake indefinitely through willpower. It will take sleep in fragments if it can't have consolidated blocks. Your immune system's circadian rhythm depends on sleep cues. Immune cells circulate differently between day and night, with some types peaking during sleep to repair tissues and fight infection. Shift workers and people with irregular schedules show disrupted immune function, not just from sleep loss, but from misaligned circadian signals. Their immune systems don't know when to activate repair functions versus pathogen-fighting functions. Lucid dreaming occurs when prefrontal regions partially reactivate during REM sleep. In most dreams, the logic and reality monitoring prefrontal cortex remains offline, which is why dream absurdities seem normal. In lucid dreams, this region partially activates while you remain asleep, allowing awareness that you're dreaming. Some people train this skill deliberately, while others experience it spontaneously. This reveals that REM sleep isn't uniform, but can vary in which brain regions are active. The feeling of falling as you fall asleep is a harmless myoclonic jerk. These sudden muscle contractions, occurring in about 70% of people occasionally, result from the transition between wakefulness and sleep. As your brain downregulates motor control systems, sometimes they misfire, creating a sensation of falling that jolts you awake. While startling, they're completely normal and don't indicate any problem with sleep or health. We now understand that sleep quality, the deepness and completeness of your rest, determines whether you wake restored or depleted. It's not about hours in bed, but about whether your brain successfully completed its maintenance checklist, clearing waste, processing memories, regulating hormones, repairing tissues, integrating experiences. The heaviness after poor sleep is your brain's honest report showing too many items left unchecked. Meditation and mindfulness practices improve sleep quality. By training attention control and reducing rumination, these practices help quiet the mental chatter that often prevents sleep. Recent analyses show that mindfulness-based interventions are as effective as medication for chronic insomnia, without side effects. The mechanism isn't mystical. It's teaching your brain to disengage from the thought loops that maintain arousal when you're trying to sleep. Sleep restores your capacity for patience and compassion. The prefrontal cortex, which helps you pause before reacting, loses its ability to regulate impulses after poor sleep. Brain imaging shows the connection between reasoning and emotion centers weakens measurably, leaving you more reactive, more easily frustrated. The weariness includes a shorter fuse, less tolerance for small annoyances that normally wouldn't bother you. Your breathing pattern changes predictably across sleep stages. During slow-wave sleep, breathing becomes deep and regular. During REM sleep, it becomes irregular, sometimes pausing briefly. Sleep apnea occurs when this natural variability becomes concerning, with extended breathing pauses that drop blood oxygen and fragment sleep. Many people feel depleted despite spending adequate time in bed because undiagnosed apnea prevents deep, continuous sleep. They're experiencing brief breathing disruptions dozens or hundreds of times per night without knowing it. Sleep deprivation impairs moral judgment and empathy. Brain regions involved in social cognition and ethical reasoning are highly sensitive to sleep loss. Studies show sleep-deprived people make more selfish decisions, show reduced empathy, and have difficulty considering others' perspectives. This isn't character weakness. It's prefrontal cortex dysfunction. The tiredness after poor sleep includes feeling disconnected from your own values and struggling to care about things that normally matter deeply. The concept of beauty sleep has biological validity. During deep sleep, growth hormone triggers cellular repair, including skin cell turnover. Blood flow to skin increases, delivering nutrients and oxygen while removing waste products. Studies show that sleep-deprived people are rated as less attractive and less healthy-looking by observers who don't know their sleep status. The weariness you feel is visible in your face, not vanity, but accurate biological signaling of your body's state. Position preferences often relate to comfort and pre-existing conditions. People with sleep apnea breathe better on their sides. Those with acid reflux feel better sleeping with head elevated. Pregnant women find side sleeping more comfortable as their abdomen grows. There's no universally best sleep position. Optimal positioning depends on your individual anatomy and health. The tiredness from poor sleep sometimes comes from fighting what your body is trying to tell you about positioning. White noise helps some people sleep by masking disruptive sounds. By creating consistent background sound, it prevents sudden noises from causing micro-arousals. But individual preferences vary enormously. What's soothing to one person is annoying to another. Recent research suggests personalized soundscapes matching individual preferences work better than standardized white noise. The key is consistency and volume low enough to fade into the background. Sleep talking to yourself improves problem solving. When you explain something to yourself quietly, your brain processes information differently than during silent thought. This technique, sometimes called self-explanation, enhances learning and memory consolidation. During sleep, your brain continues this process automatically, working through problems even without conscious awareness. The depletion from poor sleep includes losing access to this unconscious problem-solving capacity. Pregnancy dramatically alters sleep architecture. Hormonal changes, physical discomfort, and anticipation about impending parenthood all affect sleep. During the third trimester, sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented, possibly preparing women for the disrupted sleep of caring for a newborn. The weariness of pregnancy isn't just from carrying extra weight. It's from months of altered, inadequate sleep at a time when the body needs extra rest for development. Sleep science has taught us that your tiredness after bad sleep is legitimate, biological, and not something to overcome through willpower alone. Your brain is honestly reporting that critical maintenance was left unfinished. Respecting this signal, rather than fighting it, is the first step toward better sleep. The heaviness is information, not weakness. Almost done. Relax even deeper. Did you know most matter, from a grain of sand to a star, is empty space? Atoms are mostly empty space between nucleus and electrons. Even your body is more space than matter. So let go. Let all pressure, all worry dissolve. Like dust particles floating, drifting in the immense universe. We'll continue with the final facts. Sleep is the price we pay for consciousness. Being awake creates disorder in neural systems. Learning forms connections. Emotions activate stress responses. Sensory input creates metabolic waste. Sleep restores order, paying the accumulated debt of wakefulness. Every hour awake increases the cost. Eventually, payment comes due. Whether you want to sleep or not, you spend 1/3 of your life asleep. For someone living 75 years, that's 25 years unconscious. This isn't wasted time, but invested time. The foundation that makes the other 50 years possible. Without those 25 years of maintenance, the conscious years would be shorter, less vibrant, less functional. Dreams are your private cinema, screening every night. Stories you never consciously wrote, featuring people you know and strangers you've never met, in impossible combinations. Your sleeping brain is endlessly creative, generating elaborate narratives from fragments of memory and emotion. This nightly theater serves purposes we're still discovering. Sleep synchronizes society as much as biology. Before artificial light, communities naturally synchronized around sunrise and sunset, sharing waking and sleeping hours. Modern life has fractured this communal rhythm. But humans remain fundamentally social sleepers. We feel safer, sleep better, and wake more naturally when in harmony with others' sleep patterns. The tiredness you feel is ancient wisdom. For millions of years, organisms that didn't sleep enough died. Your fatigue is survival information, refined through evolutionary time. Telling you something essential is incomplete. It deserves respect, not resentment. Children's brains grow during sleep. Neural connections multiply. Prune. Reorganize. Brain volume actually increases in childhood, partly through sleep-dependent processes. This is why children need so much more sleep than adults. Their brains are actively constructing themselves, not just maintaining existing structures. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, your muscles relax. These simple physiological changes allow hours of restoration. Without them, you'd wear out your cardiovascular system within weeks, never giving it time to rest and repair. Sleep is your heart's only break. The longest recorded time without sleep is 11 days. Randy Gardner, a teenager in 1964, stayed awake for 264 hours during a science fair project. By the end, he experienced cognitive impairment and altered perceptions. His recovery required weeks of longer, deeper sleep. This experiment is no longer repeated. Researchers now understand sleep deprivation requires careful ethical oversight. Animals sleep in astonishing ways. Dolphins sleep one brain hemisphere at a time, maintaining some awareness to breathe. Birds sleep mid-flight during migration. Desert snails sleep for years during drought. Sleep is so essential that evolution has created countless creative solutions to achieve it, despite environmental challenges. Your bed is a time machine to tomorrow. Each night you lie down in today and wake in tomorrow. The journey marked only by fragments of dreams and darkness. Sleep collapses time, making tomorrow arrive through unconsciousness rather than continuous experience. It's the closest humans come to time travel. Sleep disorders are remarkably common. About 70 million Americans have chronic sleep problems. Insomnia, sleep apnea, restless legs, and dozens of other conditions. The weariness you feel might not be your fault at all, but a medical condition that deserves diagnosis and treatment. You don't have to manage this alone. Forgiveness happens more easily after sleep. The emotional dampening that occurs during sleep helps you see yesterday's conflicts with softer eyes. Things that felt unforgivable at night often feel manageable by morning. Sleep doesn't erase hurt, but it takes the sharp edge off, making reconciliation possible. Reading before bed signals your brain that waking tasks are finished. The switch from screen-based work to book-based relaxation, especially in dim light, cues your circadian system. Reading creates a transitional space between the demands of day and the release of night, preparing consciousness to let go. Your last thoughts before sleep often become your first thoughts upon waking. If you fall asleep tense, you'll likely wake tense. If you fall asleep peaceful, you'll wake more peacefully. This isn't magic, just continuity. Your sleeping brain continues processing whatever occupied your waking mind. Choose your final thoughts carefully. So could poor sleep make you feel more depleted? It already has. Every night of fragmented sleep, every morning of unrefreshed waking, every day of pushing through fatigue, you've lived the answer. The question isn't whether it's true, but whether you'll honor what your body is telling you. Some memories exist only in sleep. Things you've forgotten consciously sometimes resurface in dreams, suggesting memories aren't truly lost, but simply inaccessible during waking consciousness. Your sleeping brain navigates memory archives differently than your waking mind, following connections that daytime logic would never explore. Sunset tells your body to prepare for sleep, even through closed eyelids. Even in buildings, your brain tracks light levels throughout the day. The transition from bright afternoon to dim evening triggers melatonin release, and temperature changes hours before you actually lie down. Modern bright artificial lighting in evening disrupts this ancient preparation sequence. Gratitude practices before bed improve sleep quality. Focusing on positive experiences rather than worries or regrets reduces nighttime tension and helps you fall asleep faster. It's not about forced positivity, but about directing attention toward what's good in life rather than what's threatening. Sleep is perhaps the only free gift in biology. You must stop all productivity, lie motionless for hours, and become vulnerable. Yet you wake stronger, smarter, healthier than when you lay down. Nothing else in nature works quite this way. Return without labor. Growth through surrender. The heaviness you feel after bad sleep might be the most honest thing your body tells you. Not failure. Not weakness. Just truth. Listen to it. Honor it. Let it guide you toward rest. Your dreams tonight will be different from any dreams anyone has ever dreamed. Unique combinations of your specific memories, emotions, and experiences, woven together in patterns that will never repeat. Even you will never dream exactly this dream again. Each night's sleep is an original creation. Sleep is simultaneously universal and deeply personal. All humans need it, yet each person's experience is unique. Their own struggles, their own dreams, their own journey through darkness into light each morning. You're doing something ancient and shared, yet your experience is yours alone. Perhaps weariness after poor sleep exists to protect you. If poor sleep felt fine, you'd never prioritize rest. The heaviness motivates behavior change, pushing you toward better sleep patterns. Medical help, schedule adjustments, The tiredness is feedback, guiding you towards survival. Right now, millions of people are asleep, breathing softly in darkness, their brains quietly working. You're part of this vast human rhythm, this nightly collective surrender. Everyone who sleeps tonight joins you in vulnerability and restoration. The real understanding isn't about sleep science. It's about understanding yourself. You need rest not because you're weak, but because you're alive. Your weariness carries wisdom. Slow down. Stop pushing. Allow restoration. Sleep isn't the enemy of productivity. It's the foundation of everything. And tonight, whether you sleep well or poorly, your body will try again, faithful and persistent. Because that's what living things do. We rest, we rise, we try again. And so, our quiet journey through sleep's hidden architecture comes to a gentle close. We've traveled from the cellular cleaning systems that operate only during deep sleep, to the emotional processing theaters of REM stages, to the profound weariness that signals work left undone. We've discovered along the way that sleep is simultaneously biological necessity and mysterious gift. From the glymphatic system washing toxic proteins away to dreams weaving sense from the day's chaos, we've glimpsed how sleep is both ordinary and miraculous. Something you do every night, yet something science is still struggling to fully understand. Sleep science reminds us that vulnerability is strength, that surrender enables rising, that darkness precedes every dawn. Much of the brain's most essential work happens in silence, in unconsciousness. In the hours when you release control entirely, sleep reveals the wisdom of letting go. Without adequate sleep, consciousness itself becomes unsustainable. By pausing to notice sleep's subtle architecture, we glimpse the extraordinary machinery hidden inside the ordinary experience of closing our eyes each night. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can. As deep as possible, think about consciousness itself. Yours, mine, everyone listening, all awareness, everywhere. Perhaps all connected in ways we don't yet understand. You are not alone in the universe of minds. Every thought, every dream, every moment of rest links you to the vast web of human experience. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of consciousness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight, farther than most journeys take you. You can allow these thoughts of sleep science to fade now, like morning mist dissolving in sunshine, leaving only the peaceful calm behind. Let your breathing deepen. Let your body feel heavier, as if gravity itself is finally claiming you, pulling you gently toward Earth's solid embrace. If sleep comes, let it carry you like a river flowing inevitably toward ocean, smoothly, naturally, into a realm where time and weight no longer matter. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, the science of sleep will still be there. Dreams will still weave through sleeping minds. But tonight belongs to stillness. Rest well, peaceful soul. And remember, sleep is not the enemy of living. It's the foundation of life itself. the tide that lets us rise again. Renewed, fall asleep to gentle facts, where science meets sleep. Dream deeper with bedtime science. Relax, listen, and drift into sleep. Good night.